Welcome to the Conscious Kinky Podcast, where we explore sexuality, connection, and power through awareness and intentional choice.
At the Kink Collective, we help people reframe their relationship with sexuality, build deeper connections, and become safe spaces in the world.
Each episode invites reflection, not performance.
And the conversation continues inside Conscious Conversations, our live community space. Welcome to the conversation. Welcome to the Conscious Kinky Podcast.
I'm Joshua.
And I'm Kat. This podcast exists because so many people feel pressure to perform their sexuality, to look a certain way, to want the right things, to show up how they think they're supposed to.
At the Kink Collective, our work is simple and intentional. We help people reframe their relationship with sexuality, build deeper and more meaningful connections, and become safe spaces in the world.
So each week we slow down the conversation. We explore sexuality, kink, and leather not as identities to perform, but as information, reflections of how we relate to power, intimacy, boundaries, and choice.
Today's episode continues month 3 with a question so many people don't realize they're carrying. How much of your sexuality is authentic? And how much of it is performance? This episode will introduce 8 reflection questions. The first 4 focus on awareness, where performance shows up and why.
The second 4 invite deeper introspection. What becomes possible when performance softens and honesty takes its place? You don't need to answer everything right now. Let this be a listening experience. Take what resonates and leave what doesn't. So let's begin.
So what I'd like to share with you guys is, as you're getting these questions, if you are drawn to write out answers, just pause the video, give yourself about 2 or 3 minutes to jot down whatever's coming to mind, and then revisit it later to flesh it out in more context. Performance isn't just something we do on stage. It's something many of us learn to do in order to feel wanted, to feel chosen, or safe. We learn early what's desirable. We learn early what gets attention, what gets approval. And slowly, sexuality can shift from something felt to something managed.
Performance often shows up quietly, trying to be good at sex, right? Wanting to be wanted. Doing what you think you should enjoy, even when your body is saying otherwise. This isn't a failure, it's a strategy. But awareness asks a different question. What happens when we stop trying to get it right and start getting honest?
This is a good one. This is a good one. Yesterday after our chat, Natalie was like, wow, that was a big conversation.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize it until after.
Yeah, I think we're headed into the same thing today. All right, so these first 4 questions are about noticing. Again, without judgment, without needing to fix or change, just to notice what's there. All right, so where do you feel pressure to do sexuality the right way? It could show up in how you initiate, how you respond, or how you judge yourself afterwards.
So that's a good question. A lot of my sexuality is wow. It's like I really have to unpack that.
These are intense questions.
How would you start with that?
What comes up for me is
just so you know, all of this is from the pocket. Like, we didn't sit here and rehearse these questions. So
yeah.
We're going at your pace too.
I feel the most amount of pressure to do, in the spirit of this question, doing sexuality the right way, when it comes to pleasing my partners.
So let's define it. Capacity for sexual feelings.
What's that word?
Sexuality.
Sexuality. Oh, capacity for sexual feelings. Well, and when we use the word do, I do think of performance. I think of the actual sex act, of being sexual, of having sex, right? And it's like, to do it the right way. Like, this may be one of those episodes where you and I do some stuff in real time, because that's what's come up for me, right? Like, one of the things that you've said to me in the past is that that I need to initiate more. That would feel better for you if I initiated more. And that sometimes leads me to a feeling of pressure or to do or perform because I want you to feel the way you want to feel. And so it leaves me sometimes scrambling internally for like, so what does that look like? What do I do? How do I initiate in a way that feels good to you? And sometimes I can get caught up in a performative aspect of that rather than just being or seeing where that might otherwise come from. So my biggest area of pressure to do something the right way, it comes down to wanting my partners to feel how they would like to feel, because that's important to me.
Yeah. So I think for me, it depends if I'm giving or receiving or taking. When I want to be of service, when I want to give, it's hard for me to it's not hard for me to be in that space, but it's hard for me to fall into that space of giving, because a lot of mine is consumption. Sex for me is a fuel. It's like I feed on it sometimes. It rejuvenates me. It makes me feel alive. It makes me feel big. Because a lot of it for me is like, it's like I'm a sex vampire almost, right? I like to just draw everything out of a person. Yeah, it's. Do I feel pressure to do sexuality the right way? I don't feel absent like any performance, like anxiety, like I'm gonna disappoint the person, unless the person isn't giving me feedback. Then it's a difficult situation for me. So sometimes, because I'm reading the question, where do you feel pressure to do sexuality the right way? It's tough. Because a lot of it's about me. I guess I was trying to find words, ways to beat around that bush. But that's a fact for it is, in a lot of the relationships, that's my need, is that type of energy.
And what's interesting and good about that is you say that, and I respond internally with like, yeah, I want to be. It reminds me of the Lestat movies, right, where the vampire goes to sweep into the victim, the unwitting victim, but there's a desire on the part of the victim to be taken, to be consumed, and I have that experience internally. Like I want to be consumed by you.
Yeah.
And that feels good to me to want to be in that role, right?
I'd be very curious to chat with folks who can resonate deeper with this question, or at least have different answers for this question. Because feeling pressure to do sexuality the right way, this question bounces off of me in a way of how do I present myself as well. Like sometimes I have to dress a certain way to feel a certain way. And if I'm not dressed that way, I may not feel like I'm being enough. Right? So like, let's say I go to a men's party, and if I'm dressed in clothes that don't say sexy or sexual, I think I judge myself. I think like I'm not showing up enough. I would probably feel less desirable. So where do I feel pressure to do sexuality the right way? I think in men's spaces sometimes it's because the energy happening around me isn't the same as how I engage also. So that could feel like pressure sometimes.
You mean to want to be more like the people around you in the environment? Or to hold your own and to be who you are even if the energy is different?
I think to fit in and not stick out so much. But I have to sit with that. It's like I generally don't feel pressure to do sexuality the right way because I've had to build my own relationship with sexuality. And I don't hear criticism much when it comes to that.
Well, you've gone way out of your way to make sure that you get anything but.
Yeah. So, but I do want to meet others who feel that their relationship with sexuality can feel pressured.
Yeah.
And to understand maybe a little deeper reason.
An invitation for you to join us on Tuesday.
Yes, please. I'd love to learn. So let's jump to question 2.
All right.
Who do you notice yourself performing for? A partner, culture, or yourself? Performance doesn't always mean someone else is watching. Sometimes the audience lives inside of us.
That goes right back to what I was saying for myself earlier, right? Like, I feel I notice myself performing for like you or me, my idea of who I think you want me to be and my idea of who I think you want me to be, right? I can be, if I'm not careful, I can fall more into performing from the standpoint of, of being who I think someone wants me to be. And it's not necessarily that I don't enjoy that, but this whole line of questioning wants to beg this issue between performance and honesty, and who are you really? And it's not comfortable.
So I think about a time I had 2 people tied up against this gate here where the TV's at, and I was in a director role. Like, I was in a space that was commanding the action, and I think the performance had a goal in mind and an end game of catharsis and release. And when I'm driving the car, I guess depending on the hat that I'm wearing depends on how we get there. And it was that was the time the dogs were.
Yeah, I remember. I remember that time.
It was really, really fucking intense. And I mean, if I were to think about this question or the word performance or performing, it isn't like acting. It's stepping in with a particular flavor, right? Like, I can't, in that scenario with that goal in mind, I couldn't be someone with less intensity or confidence, right? I had to show up with an agenda, with an energy to make them feel guided and grounded.
Now, I'm not wrong to say that is a part of who you are. Mm-hmm. That's not you pretending to be somebody other than who you are.
Yeah, no.
I mean, not that you're that person all the time, but that particular persona or hat or however you want to refer to it is an authentic part of who you are.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So it's not like performance from like a make-believe standpoint, or like a showing up and pretending to be somebody you're not.
It was a performance. I think of it like a track star getting to a track.
Yeah.
Like, he's here to perform. He's here to show his abilities.
Right. Yeah, and I don't... And
it was like dance monkey, dance master monkey.
But in that way, I don't think performance is necessarily a bad word.
Correct.
Right? It doesn't necessarily have to have a negative connotation, just as long as we know how we're using it and how it's showing up for us, I think is an important distinction to make here as we're slogging through these questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you get a chance to answer this?
I did, actually.
Okay.
So question number 3, how does performance show up in your body or nervous system? Is it tension, disconnection, overthinking, freezing, fawning, or some other way? Your body often knows, though, before your mind does.
It's performance it's such a hard word. So sometimes, but that's event hosting. It's not like sexuality,
right?
Or intimate or sexual. Okay. So when they're not my intimate partners, when they're other people, I still, the performance isn't, it's not like I'm putting on a hat that isn't mine. It's I'm showing up with my tools.
Yeah.
Like, again, like the track, the runner coming to the track.
Yeah.
Right? So whenever I'm performing, or like doing demos, or like wine and bind, right? When I'm in front of a group of people, I'm trying to show, I don't shrink in those cases, right? I expand, because I've developed a skill set and I've developed confidence in these skill sets because I want people to see what's possible with what we're doing. So I don't shrink.
No. I can relate to this question though a little bit more. When I start to think about what do I authentically want sexually, right? Sometimes I freeze internally. I don't have an answer, a ready answer. And that's where I'm beginning to think that this whole slowing down thing may be really helpful for me. I freeze, and then in the absence of a ready answer, of a ready bit of information, I tend to want to default to performance. I tend to want to default to, well, what can I at least do? What can I say? How can I show up so that my partner feels desired and supported and engaged the way that they want to feel? Because that's more important than this messy business of me slowing down enough to figure out what it is I might want. And that kind of happens automatically sometimes. And it's part of the reason why when I took a first glance at these questions, I didn't necessarily want to sit down and do this interview.
Yeah. I think about my body changing and the performance around that and the anxiety that spikes. And it's not just oh, well, it's not working, right? There's layers to what happens. And then that becomes disconnection, overthinking, freezing, a lot of the psychological stuff that it's painful to consider from the inside, right? So it definitely shows up in my nervous system, and when I've worked with clients in the past whose bodies not responded the way they wanted it to, it was like I'd give them all the grace they needed. It's like, listen, it's okay. It's not about that. It's not about that. But then when the shoe's on the other foot, I feel that way.
Right.
And it's like, I feel...
Even though you're getting the same reassurances from the outside,
yeah,
you're still feeling it on the inside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't want...
So for anyone out there who struggles, because I struggle with it too, because I'm postmenopausal now, right? Like, it's a normal thing. And we feel you. Like, struggling with body performance issues can bring in a whole other level of performance that almost feels like you have to because of the alternatives. It took me a really long time to be able to say out loud even that I had noticed a drop in my internal landscape of desire, because I didn't want to admit it. I didn't want it to be true. I didn't want that to be what was going on for me, and I certainly didn't want anyone to know about it. And I also didn't want to have happen what happened, which was a sense that then you feeling like you asking for it was asking me to do something I didn't want to do, right? Because that's not true. It's not that I don't. It's just that there's this sort of absence of experience where there used to be a very definite experience internally of desire and of wanting to, and then there's just this in these most recent years, there's this like little strange blank spot almost where something used to be, and it's not a negative. It's not a don't want to. It's just a weird absence feeling that I don't necessarily know how to address. So much so that like there's times where I think, like I'm missing being sexual and wondering what's happened to it, but it's embarrassing. I don't talk about it that much, and I'm afraid to talk about it. And when I'm at the behest of it, performance is definitely something that wants to try to fill in. Because what I don't want is I don't want to be a not sexual person. Mm-hmm. I still don't define myself that way. I'm not going down that road regardless. I just don't want to.
Yeah. So, what expectations do you feel you're supposed to meet around desire or intimacy? And where did those expectations come from, and do they still belong to you?
Well, I could reframe everything I just said just like that. Like the expectations that I feel I should meet is to want to be sexual, to have the same desire that I always had, like that I'm used to myself having. And those expectations came from me, and they do still belong to me. It's just the problem is meeting my body where it's at, meeting my, I guess, chemistry or whatever, the hormonal changes that have happened inside of me, you know, being willing to meet those where they're at. And also, I think, as I'm hearing myself talk out loud, just finding new ways of dealing with it, finding new ways of engaging and letting myself be engaged so that I'm not necessarily just falling by the wayside of, you know, like that sex now becomes something other people have and it just passes me by. I don't want to go there.
Yeah. For myself, it's like I have to be ready all the time. That's like an expectation I carry. And
that's yours?
I think it was for a long time, because that's how I built a lot of they're like a core foundation for a lot of my relationships is sex. And what do I get to share with my partners? Knowing that there's an age gap as well with Natalie, it's like, you know, she's going through her relationship with sex and her body, and that's on the way up, right? And I'm like, I'm on the way up too. At least I want to say that, but my body's saying otherwise.
Right.
You know, and I have to think about what my relationship is with being ready at the drop of a dime now, right? It's not the same way it used to be.
Would you say that is part of your identity?
My sex?
That aspect of having to be ready on the dime, is that part of how you identify as part of who you are? Or has it been?
It has been.
Yeah.
For a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, I was talking numbers the other day, and it's like, for a very long time, it was like that was the goal. And it's no longer the goal, and it hasn't been. However, it's a way that I share my love. Like, that's my love language out. And what I give of myself is part of that.
Yeah.
So to be ready at the drop of a dime, also it's like, what is the person experiencing if I'm ready and they're not? Right? Like, is there the same type of expectation that's being felt? And I don't want the person to feel obligated to performance either.
Right.
Right? Because that's no fun for me.
Right.
Right? I desire to be desired.
Right.
And
that's this tricky thing that we're navigating.
yeah.
Right.
So it's like, I guess having a real conversation with myself about what does it mean to me and why is it so important? Or a conversation, period. Something like this. If you're listening with a partner, resist the urge to compare answers. This isn't about alignment, it's about awareness. So stay with your own experience, and after you've answered these questions, then maybe come and share answers, or join us on Tuesdays and share answers in the big group.
Yeah. So awareness helps us see the performance, right? And then the next step is asking what's underneath it. What is performance protecting? And what honesty might make possible?
So question number 5. This is where we come back into the main room on our Tuesdays Conscious Conversations. And we shake up the breakout rooms, and we'll put you back into another breakout room for 25 minutes.
Yeah.
And you'll get to share your perspective and hear others share their perspectives. It's an incredible way to expand awareness and to put language to some thoughts you may have carried. I know I think I always learn the most out of this whole thing is because of how much information I'm collecting from hearing from everyone. So how do you know when a desire is truly yours versus something you feel you should want? What does yes feel like when no one is watching?
How do I know a desire is truly mine? I don't sometimes, to be honest. Sometimes, I mean, I have a long history with, feeding off of other people's desire. I may not want a particular person, but the fact that they want me has, in my life in the past, often enough been reason to just go ahead. Because I like being desired. I like what that feels like. And so somewhere in there is a little history built up for me of, bypassing answering the question for myself, is this a genuine desire that I have versus am I feeding off of your desire? Because I've been okay with that. So this question more wants for me to lean into even asking it of myself, to start to tease apart like my own desire from the other person's desire. I don't know, what does yes feel like when no one is watching? It was so funny. I was in the bathroom looking at one of our toys and imagining playing just with myself and feeling like a genuine sense of that being something that I want to do, which is not something that I have felt a lot of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. And there was a genuine sense on my part of like, oh, I could do that. That would be interesting. And
yes, it would.
and it would also, I know it would also go hand in hand with something, that you would want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You saw it here first.
Yeah. And so just allowing myself, I think, to explore more feelings like that. But I really think, when we start talking about like slowing down and getting quiet, that's something I need to spend a little bit more time with. Is this slowing down and getting quiet and asking myself these questions and giving myself the space to answer them. And when I'm in the moment, when being sexual is what's happening, it's hard for me to want to slow down because I get self-conscious. It makes me feel like I'm gonna, be a damper on something, or that it would just be better if I just let things rip the way they're gonna without worrying so much about this, like, well, what does Kat want kind of thing, because sometimes it wants to bog me down and slow me down, and I don't want to be slowed down. So these questions just are interesting for me to think about.
For myself, I think of like either being pulled towards something or rejecting something. If it's a desire that isn't mine, my body starts to like freeze.
Like pull away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like rejection, I start to feel rejection in my body. Like, I don't want that. And if it is mine, it's like,
you feel pulled towards. Yeah.
Pulled towards it.
Well, that's a good, for anybody else who's struggling with this question, there's a good criteria to use, right? The difference between being pulled towards or being repelled from, in terms of identifying your own desire.
Yeah. I mean, if I were to, like, with playing with my own body, for example, like the draw was always there, but I felt like I couldn't access it for whatever shame, for whatever reasons it was there. And it's like, yes looked like exactly what I did when no one was watching, right? Long story short, it was like I needed permission to play with my own body. If I'm out here giving other people advice to do it, why couldn't I do it myself? And I didn't want to have that hypocrite feeling in my body anymore. So I took it upon myself to step into that. And it was quite incredible. It was quite incredible.
Mm-hmm. I remember.
Yeah, you do.
All right, next question. What changes when you allow yourself to slow down rather than perform? Slowness often reveals what performance hides. My answer to this question is going to be, stand by. I'll let you know as soon as I allow myself to slow down rather than perform.
Yeah.
This is exactly what I need to do.
Like, we have a big play date coming up. And I'm curious how, because I'm not leading that. Right? I'm a passenger in that seat. And I'd be curious how. Well, I have to make sure I stay in the passenger seat and I don't jump into the driver's seat, which is very difficult.
Right, and that, there's not a hard and fast rule around that either.
Right, and
there's some expectation that you'll do what you do.
Yeah, right, because it's like, I'm here to fuck. Right? I'm here to play. It's difficult to slow down for me. Like, I don't know what slowing down looks like sometimes.
Well, but it's not because you don't know what you want.
Oh, yeah.
Right? In this case, for this question for me, the slowing down is so that I can get to what I want.
Yeah.
Right? You have no trouble identifying what you want.
Yeah. Again, that comes. I think it comes at a price too, having done this for so long, professionally, right? And leading, being asked to lead, being asked to guide people through their own journeys of sexuality. It's like I think that's why, like, the way that a lot of our play, the arc of it, right, is like, let's use my body first and then let my body be used at the back end, right? It's because my body's going to experience certain things, and then it's like,
right.
I can't bounce back from certain things once I pass the threshold.
The arc
right?
makes perfect sense. I get it.
So I'm gonna see what slowing down looks like. I'll try to see what slowing. It's like,
well, and
I'm like
I'll try the same
devil.
thing. I know, but I'll try the same thing and see if I can't get at a better sense of my own desire. If I can't come up with something.
Yeah.
So what feels more vulnerable for you, being desired or being honest? Where did you learn that one mattered more than the other? Being honest definitely feels more vulnerable to me than being desired. Being desired is something that I'm accustomed to. And allowing myself to perform in certain ways based on other people's desire is a well-worn groove for me. So this being honest business is definitely more vulnerable. And I don't know that I learned that one mattered more than the other, but I definitely think that the path of least resistance was always to just go with the being desired route than to worry about showing up and being honest and figuring out any of that stuff. And some of that is self-esteem. Some of that is feeling like, well, what I want doesn't really matter. And in all fairness, like historically, in some cases to the other person it didn't necessarily matter. What they wanted mattered more to them anyway, right? So the fact that I'd be willing to just go along with whatever mattered, with whatever mattered to them, was good enough for them. So the fact that like I wasn't showing up and being 100% honest about like what I might have wanted or whatever didn't really matter. It didn't really have a negative impact in the setting. But I know that in this case it does. I know that you are particularly interested for me to show up and be honest about what I want, right? And I've had a hard time doing it, and it feels vulnerable to want to let myself do that. Some of me is afraid that like there's nothing like that because I ask myself the question, and then there's this chasm inside of me of like almost an emptiness chasm, like, oh my God, I don't have an answer to that question. And I think it's that I need to do the slow down and be quiet long enough for an answer to come. But the fear is that there is no answer, that I'm just empty inside, that I don't have any desire. And I don't think that's true, but I'm afraid of that. And so I stick to what I know, which is the realm of the performance and the feeding off of the other person's desire.
I think mine is being desired is more vulnerable. Because of performance anxiety. and my inability to take compliments. That's one of the hardest things for me is someone to hit on me.
And that's tough because you are really sexy, you are really attractive, and it is really easy to want to say it to you, right? I know. I'm not telling them anything they don't know.
But it gives me performance anxiety.
Yeah.
Because then the expectations are high, right? If someone's desiring me, it's like I have to perform, and I have to perform well, or they're going to be disappointed and reject me, right?
Right. So the fear of rejection part comes back.
Yeah, and that's
crazy how this stuff is all connected.
Yeah, and that's not something that I don't feel comfortable with that in my body. So it's like being desired is a lot more vulnerable than being honest.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, the first one thing that comes to mind is this beautiful mistress I know who, when we first met, she would compliment me, and it was like she'd hit on me and stuff, and it was like, oh, don't do that. Because I didn't know how to respond. It just really, it was unsettling for me because there's an expectation of, I have to fit who they see me being.
So filling someone else's idea of who you are.
Yeah.
Or how you should be.
Or how I should be.
Yeah.
And like it's clearly a subconscious thing because no one's ever, I think it goes back to that time I was at that open bar, $10 cover with the whiskey deck. Yolanda!
So funny. It's funny how isolated incidences can be so molding or...
Yeah, dude, yes. Yeah,
right.
It's crazy. It's crazy. All right, question 8. How might letting go of performance deepen connection with yourself or with others? Not perfection, not confidence, just presence.
Well, I think if I give myself permission to do this slowing down thing and see what I want, and let go of performance, it might in fact deepen my connection with myself and others.
Yeah.
I just have to give myself permission to do it.
Yeah.
I have to find the courage.
And like for me, it's about getting out of my head. Getting out of my head that is the end goal for my partner. Right? It's like, if that isn't present, then I'm not attracted to you, is a formula that plays in my head.
That you're not attracted to them, or they won't be attracted to you?
I'm not attracted to them. It's like, in my mind, they're saying, what's wrong with me that you can't be completely turned on like you've always been? And I think that's it right there.
Yeah. Well, if there's any way I can dissuade you from that.
Right, and it's like, it's one of those legitimate, listen, it's not me, it's not you, it's me. It's not me, it's you. No, it's not you, it's me. And it's like,
right.
Having to explain that, it just feels like I'm disappointing someone.
Yeah.
And strictly performance is erection.
Right, is
like,
the physical,
is
the physical ability to perform, and it's funny because it's like anytime I think about it, it's like I want to be able to be free to ask, and then also feel like you're free to say, no, I can't, or I don't want to, or whatever, and that be okay.
Sexuality without performance. This set of questions is, there's going to be a review of the questions we just covered, so that you guys can, again, spend a few minutes with them, take a pause, and then come back and complete them. So the questions we covered is, where do you feel pressure to do sexuality the right way? Who do you notice yourself performing for? Is it a partner, culture, or yourself? How does performance show up in your body or nervous system? What expectations do you feel you're supposed to meet around desire or intimacy?
So the deeper introspection questions, the last 4 questions are, how do you know when a desire is truly yours versus something you feel you should want? What changes when you allow yourself to slow down rather than perform? What feels more vulnerable, being desired or being honest? And how might letting go of performance deepen connection? Sexuality doesn't require an audience, it requires honesty. And honesty begins when we stop asking, am I doing this right? And start asking, is this true for me? If these questions stirred something, curiosity, discomfort, relief, that's information. It's not a problem.
These same questions will be brought into Conscious Conversations, our live community space where we slow this process down and explore together. Conscious Conversation meets every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern and is open to anyone who's curious, reflective, and willing to engage honestly. No experience required. You don't need the answers. You just need a willingness to listen to yourself and to others.
So until next time, remember, this isn't about performing sexuality better. It's about relating more consciously. We'll see you Tuesday at the conversation.
Thanks for listening to the Conscious Kinky Podcast. New episode drops every Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern Time. And the conversations continue inside Conscious Conversations every Tuesday night.
We'll see you then.
Thank you for joining us.